You may have seen the iceberg metaphor used to explain concepts where only a small portion of the subject matter is visible and the larger portion is below the surface and not visible or immediately apparent. We can use this concept to help us understand ourselves and others. If we imagine we're an iceberg with only a small portion of us that is visible and above the surface, the larger portion of who we are is hidden below the surface and is not visible to others or sometimes even to ourselves. Let's imagine that the small portion above the surface represents our visible characteristics, such as our appearance, behaviors, and how we communicate. This is what others see, and this is what creates their impression in their minds of who we are. We can refer to this portion as the what. The larger portion of the iceberg is hidden below the surface and represents the why. That is, the influences and underlying reasons why we are who we are. In other words, it determines what is visible. The why portion of the iceberg can be divided into three layers, with each layer built upon the one beneath. The bottom layer, which is the base that everything is built upon, represents our perspective. In other words, it's the way we see the world. It represents our reality, and we don't question this. Our perspective can be influenced by a wide range of factors, such as our experiences, cultural background, education, environment, and so on. The values layer is built upon the perspective layer and represents those things that we see as right or wrong, good or bad, and what's important to us. These could include such things as family, health, learning, financial success, etc. Our values influence our motivators, which is represented by the next layer above, and in turn, they influence the one layer that is visible and above the surface, which represents the what. Self awareness goes beyond just the observable. It requires us to understand not just the what about ourselves, but also the why. Therefore, we need to make an effort to dive below the surface and explore what's there. Here is a quote from Martha Graham. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost.